Coming up on this edition of Cogeco News, remembering Captain Casey. A COVID outbreak at East Home in Powassan. And our frontline salute takes us inside the NBRHC. Welcome inside the Your TV studio for this Tuesday edition of Cogeco News. Truly local, my name is Clark Heipel. I hope you had a pleasant Victoria Day long weekend. First tonight, Canadian Snowbirds captain Jen Casey is being remembered from coast to coast as a positive force among the Royal Canadian Air Force. She perished on Sunday after her plane crashed shortly after takeoff in Kamloops, British Columbia. Captain Casey was in North Bay numerous times for Armed Forces Day. Nova Scotia native Public Affairs Captain Jen Casey was in North Bay for Armed Forces Day in 2018 and once again in 2019. National media is citing her positive outlook on life and the ability to light up a room, or in this case, the entire runway at North Bay's Jack Garland Airport. Let's look back at what she said in June 2019 when asked about her exciting role among the Snowbirds Air Show team.
I actually was on the Hornet demo team last year, so I got the chance to come here with that team last year and perform for all the small kids and big kids down at the waterfront last year, so we're really excited to be here again.
Captain Casey was part of the Cross Canada Snowbirds tour to boost the spirits of Canadians during COVID-19. Our hearts go out to her family, friends, and extended military family. The pilot of that Snowbird aircraft, Captain Richard McDougall, is in serious condition in hospital. We wish him a speedy recovery. Shifting focus, an employee at the East Home Long-Term Care Facility in Powassan has tested positive for COVID-19. The North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit released that information on Sunday night. That employee of the long-term care facility is in self-isolation. Meanwhile, the health unit reports that none of the residents at East Home have tested positive for the coronavirus. That is certainly good news. With that being said, let's take a look at the latest data released by the health unit on this Tuesday. Testing continues to rise in the number of 386 new tests. Currently, there are 22 cases in our district, 18 resolved, and 1 death. 3 are in self-isolation. Fresh off the long weekend, North Bay City Council is encouraged by the efforts of citizens to remain socially distanced in the fight against the coronavirus. Summer is fast approaching and many post-secondary students are uncertain whether their programs will be in class, in person, or in front of a computer screen once the fall semester hits. We keep that in mind as North Bay Mayor Al MacDonald joins us over Skype. Mr. Mayor, there is some concern concerning the return of students to post-secondary education come fall. Many courses may be offered online and the students have the choice whether to return to the city or not. If many of the students decide not to come back to North Bay, what sort of economic impact will this have on North Bay?
Oh, an incredible impact. Nipissing University, Canberra College, and CTS College have an incredible impact economically for our city. So, if every student that comes into North Bay, spends $10,000 to $20,000, and there's 8,000 students or 8,500 students, you just have to do the multiplication on that. It's massive. That's from people renting, shopping in our stores, going to restaurants. Having said that, we're not sure even if restaurants are going to be open then, but that impact is it's incredible, and we're very supportive of the college and university, and fingers crossed that they'll be able to return.
Following the Victoria Day long weekend, what's your take on the city's response, citizens respecting the rules of social distancing?
I'm hearing the vast majority are. They're being very respectful out there. We are hearing some that are not. But at the end of the day, I think the vast majority are. I think people are still really nervous, to be honest, Clark. They're doing what they can, and a lot of people are still staying home. Some of the areas we're hearing is the odd store that maybe that people aren't physical distancing. But at the end of the day, I think the vast majority are. And unfortunately, we had a death, going into the weekend. And I think that just kind of reinforces where, we're not out of the woods. We need people to follow all the protocols and do what they can to keep themselves, their family, and our frontline workers safe.
Looking back at the 2018 election seems like millions of years ago with everything that has gone on since then. Your campaign slogan was "Grow the City" by thousands of people. Now, with hindsight being 2020, perhaps it could be viewed as a good thing that we're staying relatively low population compared to major city centers as the coronavirus risk is reduced. Have you thought about that in that sense?
No, not really. I'm still a big proponent of growth. We have a declining population right now just because we're older. Our mortality rate's 2.1 and our birth rate's 1.6. So we need to have people immigrating to our city, moving back to our city. I don't mean from other countries so much as just from the GTA in the southern part of our province. And you're starting to see that starting to happen a little bit now because people imagine living in an 800 square foot condo in downtown Toronto and have to go up and down the elevator, where we're very fortunate here in North Bay, the whole area is spread out. And, when I talk about North Bay, it's really the region too. So, if you look at our regional population, it's about 85, 90,000 people, and people wonder why there's so many stores and amenities here in our communities because the regional area supports us. But no, Clark, I haven't backed off. I don't think we're going to see a lot of people moving right away for sure, but we definitely need, even to keep our population at the same amount, we need to attract almost 500 people a year just to stay equal. So no, fully supportive growth.
No real surprise, but Ontario Premier Doug Ford says no school until September. That was the biggest announcement at today's COVID-19 briefing from Toronto. Meanwhile, Nipissing MPP and Economic Development Minister Vic Fedeli says the province has to put people ahead of politics.
It's been a welcome relief to many in this country that, for the most part, politicking has been put on the back burner when it comes to trying to limit the spread as best as possible. It's been a triumph of cooperation, says Fedeli.
There's been no politics involved in this at all. What we've seen is the federal government, the provincial government, and to some extent the municipal governments working hand in hand. With the feds, we talk to them. I talk to my ministerial counterparts regularly. What are the gaps in the business community? Let's make sure there's no duplication so we're not wasting any money. First was the react, and then is the reopening, and then we'll see the recovery. So we've got a lot of work to do, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. Again, we'll see tens of thousands of people go back to work on Tuesday. The following week, hundreds of thousands of people will go back to work.
No question, the government and those that currently aren't working really want to get back to work and get the economy restarted after it cratered. South of the border, many protests about getting things opened up again. Here, protests, yes, but definitely of a smaller scale.
We've always been known to be a polite society, and I think they've looked at what we've done in Ontario as fair, open, and transparent. The Premier said he was the first Premier to come out, the first elected official to come out and give the background numbers. He said to the people, he looked straight in the camera and said, I want you to know what I know so you understand how I'm making my decisions. People took that as a good sign. The essential business list. Let me bore you for a second on that. You need food, you need water, you need a roof over your head. Everything evolved around that. So, why did you keep the chemical plants open then? Well, because those chemicals are needed to make water at the water treatment plant. So if you start thinking like that, well, you need trucks to get the chemicals here, you need distribution and warehouses, you need residential construction to stay open because you need a roof over your head. So everything we did evolved around those essentials of life. And that when you understand that, then you realize that now I understand.
The North Bay Fire Department called to a wooded area off O'Brien just north of the bypass on Tuesday afternoon, and this is what they had to contend with.
Bushfire on the Chicken Trail. I just called the fire department.
Good commentary by a Cogeco News viewer, and thank you for sending this video via Facebook Messenger. No injuries, no structural damage, and the fire was put out by the NBFD. Tough times just got tougher for the Heritage Railway and Carousel Company. With no revenue coming in from rides, the volunteer group is now faced with unforeseen expenses following a break-in over the long weekend.
We finish up Thursday around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We arrived this morning at around 10 o'clock this morning.
That is longtime Heritage Railway and Carousel Company volunteer Red Trousdale. Unfortunately for him and his fellow volunteers, the site wasn't the way they left it on Thursday upon returning this Tuesday.
A couple of boards on the backside of the caboose windows were removed. When we looked, one window was literally broken open, and there was stuff that was laying out on the train deck.
Now, the police have been notified as this was a break and enter and theft, as there were some items that were stolen.
Yeah, the police were called. They were here about 11:30, 12 o'clock. One of the constables come down, took the report and all the information and that. Unfortunately, we do have a number of security cameras that are all up and around. The unfortunate part is the monitor and the recording equipment for that security stuff, which belongs to True Steel, our security company. It was all taken and stolen, so we have no way now of gaining the information to see who was there. So what we're asking is the public, if they were down here over the weekend, if they seen anything that was out of the or extraordinary or whatever in and around the caboose or the train area, if they have information, would they please report it to either Crime Stoppers or give the police department a phone call and provide the information to them.
And this is in... Moving on, a truck ran into and over a traffic light pole Saturday night on Lakeshore Drive. Officers responded just after 9 p.m. at the intersection of Lakeshore and Judge, that busy intersection. We have learned a southbound pickup truck in the right-hand lane swerved to the right and struck a light pole, causing it to fall. The pole fell onto the roadway and struck a second vehicle. Police say the driver of that second vehicle was injured, requiring medical attention. Meanwhile, city crews assisted in the clearing of the scene. Cause of the crash not determined. For 35 and a half years, Kurt Koleski was a North Bay police officer. Today, the police board in a Zoom meeting said goodbye. We met up with Koleski after the meeting outside headquarters.
Well, I've had a great opportunity. It's 35 and a half years. It's been a great career. I'm on top of my game. It's an opportunity to do some other things that I want to do. As many people who know me, I'm busy in the community. I have lots of activities and interests, and it's time to move on.
Koleski says trying to solve major crimes was a big part of his career and something he'll always remember.
Some of the homicides they really affected the community deeply and affected us. One of the things I learned at that point in one of those investigations was just how much support we do have in the community, and those things are humbling.
The experience, but more importantly the knowledge and skill too that goes with it, that helps promote the younger members in our organization and provides them the leadership direction and the ability to become better people, better police officers, and increase community safety. It is hard to fill. Hopefully our succession management plan to find people like Kurt works, and that we're able to continue on with all the success we have while he's been a leader in our organization.
A retiring officer knows how much his job and job description has changed in 35 and a half years.
Policing's changed to the point where it's even more responsive to the community. I think there was a time when I started, policing was even hesitant to talk to the media. We've overcome that. We are becoming more transparent than we ever have in the past. And then add in the addition of new technology, it's evolving, and the increased demands from the public and the professionalism. The training is far superior than it was 35 years ago, and it continues to evolve.
Todd says Koleski's legacy is profound.
He's worked in every division within the service. He's been he was referred to as a builder of many things, of which one is the third story in our building. He was the organizational lead on that, in making sure that happened. A large investment by the community into the police building, and something that still serves us today and provides us the capacity to do what we do as a police service. It's just incredible the amount, when you look back in all the areas that he has served in and all the work that he's done. And not only that, but just organizationally, he's been a supervisor, manager, and leader in our organization too.
We have reached break time here on this edition of Cogeco News. After this break, we head downtown. Welcome back to Cogeco News. As we heard earlier in the newscast, some businesses reopened in North Bay on Tuesday, but not all, as today was the first day retail outlets facing streets were allowed to begin operations. Greg Esterbrook reports.
One store owner off camera told me it doesn't make sense for him to open right now, especially with all the new rules. Former North Bay City Councillor and longtime businessman George Marousas is open day one after 2 months of being shut down.
I'm hoping this week we're going to not only be open, we've got with some limited hours, and we're sort of a combination of appointments, but if you come to the door, we'll make an appointment for you. But it's been quite different. You know, it's one of these things that you think, boy, I never believed I'd see something like this in my lifetime. So this is one of them.
What kind of financial hit has Marousas' business taken during the closure?
There is no program that fits the business because we own the building. We don't have a landlord. We don't have $30,000 worth of payroll. So that means any of the business endeavors that have come, that have been brought out, really don't fit us, and we're not interested in borrowing money, and of course, as an individual and a sole proprietor, of course, I was able to access the $2,000 a month because literally I lost my job. That helps some of the sole proprietors, but for the rest of us, in a community like North Bay, where we can own our building and we're basically a mom and pop shop, there really wasn't much there that the government could provide. And I'll tell you, I'm not really complaining because I think the government's done a good job and they couldn't fill all of the possibilities. But I can tell you, if this was years ago when I had a couple of mortgages and kids under 10 years of age, I would be in a lot of trouble.
A small group of shoppers paraded in and out of the farmers market for day one of a most unusual opening. The merchants claim to be happy with the return of the market, but they agree it will be a while before things get close to normal. Greg's back with more.
Two different vendors that I spoke to and the police officer who was monitoring the situation ironically said the same thing. It was a steady trickle of customers on Saturday for day one of the 2020 farmers market in the era of coronavirus, but merchants were still fairly upbeat.
We've had a really good response online with our pre-orders on our new website, and a lot of good responses on Facebook as well for people that are excited that we're opening up. And the response has been good.
Wood sits on the board for the farmers market, and he said many businesses were prepared for the coronavirus effect even before edicts were handed down by the health unit and the province.
There's been a lot of talk back and forth. We've dealt with regulations from the province, with the local government, with the health unit and Farmers Market Ontario, and they're all figuring things out as well as they go. So it's communication between them and then implementation basically from then on. There's been a lot of discussion between vendors about what our expectations are as a market and then what we require each individual vendor to withhold to. Yeah, a lot of vendors are just thrilled to be back, and so are the customers. So no, it's been mostly positive.
Like John Wood, Vicki Snell is also a merchant and on the board for the farmers market. She really wasn't sure what to expect day one coming back.
We're glad that people are taking the precautions, but we hope to see more out. It would be nice to see more of our what do you call it, regular customers.
And this is an irregular spring and summer, so Snell knew she had to do things a little differently.
For displaying, they said keep it so that they can see it, and we're to handle most of the merchandise. The health unit has given us all the protocols to do, so we're following all of those. We did meet up quite a bit to get things set up. Because I am on the board with Jonathan, we had lots of emails, lots of back and forth with the health unit, and we also dealt with FMO, Farmers Market Ontario, to do all the protocol. So we had to get our walls there, we had to have our product all wrapped and ready to go. All the merchants have been really good. They've all give us input in how we could do it. We're hoping this goes good. We'll have little fine tunings as the weeks go. We hope that soon we can get back to normal. Even when we do go back, hopefully to the full market, we'll still have enough space in between the vendors this year because we're going to have the whole front of the museum as well.
Well, Greg's been a busy boy. That's a lot of bees, and GE has your weather forecast right after this.
Weather is brought to you by Canadore College. Great things happen here.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Weather time here, brought to you by Canadore College and, of course, Environment Canada. Well, I hope it was a great long weekend for you, and it appears that Mother Nature has decided to skip spring and go right to summer, as temperatures by the end of this week are going to be in the mid-20s or even above. Yes, savor it. All right, let's get to that 5-day forecast brought to you by Environment Canada and tell you exactly what to expect. I know hundreds, if not thousands, of golfers in the area were very happy over the weekend. Boy, they're going to be happy this week as well. Clear tonight in 8 degrees. 8 was more or less the high for part of last week. Wednesday, 21 and sunny. Clear overnight Wednesday, again 8. Thursday, even warmer, sunny and 25 degrees with an overnight low on Thursday of 11 degrees. That is some kind of boost weather-wise from the week before. Moving on to Friday, sunny, 26 degrees at the high, 13 overnight on Friday, and a low of 13. And finally Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, 25 and 13 are your temperatures. Now the normals for this time of the year are 19 and 7, and on Monday it was 18 and 9. So it's going to be unbelievable. That is it for weather for this Tuesday. Mr. Clark Hypo will have the complete sportscast for you right after this.
Sports is brought to you by Tag Construction for all your construction needs.
Welcome back to Cogeco News. A light sportscast on this day, but an important salute to pass your way. We head inside the electrocardiogram department of the North Bay Regional Health Center to thank the frontline workers. Thank you for all you do. From all of us at URTV. That does it for this Tuesday edition of Cogeco News. The big guy, Greg Estabrooks, returns on Wednesday live at 5. We'll see you then.
Bye.